Dude, water's so good for you, bro.
You enjoying that H2O?
I am. Quite.
Well,
Well as well. Listen, guys, we've run out of material for the podcast.
we don't know what to do. We can't think of ideas. So as a result,
Yeah. In a parallel universe, maybe.
maybe.
But not here. We're on Earth. Okay. We've never run out of topics. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, seriously.
What is wrong with you?
We actually have a dedicated episode for you today.
Mm-hmm. It's called How to Make Unforgettable Memories. Now,
Zesty.
this has been a huge thing for people to perceive and take in because it is a practicing method that you can choose to use effectively within your life.
And I will have to say the reason why I think this is a good topic to cover on a specific episode is because I haven't seen this anywhere else.
Yeah.
I really haven't.
You don't. You're not going to see it on the general board of podcasts or articles, but they're out there and they exist. There is a proper way to make memories last, and most importantly, access them whenever you want to, to escape this planet of nastiness half the time.
So, and we've also created a whole outline, so we'll be going through it step by step. Very easy to understand, nothing too complicated.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too complicated. Again, if you do have questions, you can always reach out to the 2 a.m. podcast on our Instagram at the 2 a.m. podcast.
Indeed.
Yeah, you can also send us an email at thereal2ampod@gmail. We're available. We're here to listen. I don't know how long we'll be doing that for, but you know what? Catch us while we're young.
Also, subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yeah, subscribe to us there. It would mean the world.
All right, what's our first one?
Let's get started. Okay, so I just have to briefly talk about what a memory is for a second. And just to put it out there, memories, in case you're wondering, they come in two forms. They come in semantic memory and episodic memory. I'm going to cover semantic real quick. And just to lay it out there, a semantic and episodic memories, the terms were created by a man named Endel Tulving at the University of Toronto in 1972. The semantic is the best way to remember what semantic means, I think, is just remember that the capital of France is Paris. That's
Correct.
a semantic memory. You can access that knowing that the capital of France will forever be Paris. Okay. Now, there's episodic. Episodic memories are the best way to remember them, in my opinion, is to remember your personal trip to France, your dinner,
Okay.
the smell, the lighting, the taste.
So semantic is more just based on fact.
Factual.
Something you've been told.
And impersonal. Semantic is very impersonal.
While episodic is mostly on your own direct experience.
Exactly.
Okay.
So direct experience, it's always going to, this is the best way to differentiate it between the both. Episodic just means 5 senses. Semantic means history, historical, impersonal.
Okay. I didn't know that, so.
Yeah.
Starting off the episode with something new, that's for sure.
Exactly. That's what we're here to do. We're here to have a giant learning circle to benefit from it and
Indeed.
to apply it to our lives so we can all live happily ever after.
Is there anything else?
Anything else from that? I mean, well, here's the thing. This episode's not going to be purely psychological because psychological, if we were talking about memories in the psychological form, that would be, we're solving equations to the patterns of the brain.
Getting into neurons and shit. We're not doing that.
We're not going to get into neurons and, image transformation and transfer. We're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to tackle it from a more realistic sense where hopefully you guys, the viewers, can take some optimistic, tools and tips from this today.
Yeah, there's a lot of practical stuff in this, so should be very good for you guys.
All right. So number one, the number one thing that I believe we must nail as human beings to live a better and happier life is intention. What do I mean by intention, you might be wondering? By intention, I solely mean your internal information needs to be rewired.
Okay.
So the way you are perceiving things through looking with your visual sense, what shape of intention am I willing to take today? Is it going to be great intent? Is it going to be poor intent? Is it going to be evil intent? Is it going to be good?
Yeah.
You have to shape that. That's the very first and foremost thing that you need to do before experiencing anything. I would say for this episode, outdoors, because that's generally where you're going to generate most of your unforgettable memories.
Certainly, I would say a lot of mine have been outdoors in nature.
For the most part, that's what we're going to be focusing on. It's going to be outdoors. Halfway through the episode, I'm going to take you in how to apply that even when you're indoors. You know, you could still sense happiness by looking out the window.
Yeah.
You know, grandma died in the room next door. It doesn't mean the whole place is evil.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
poor grandma.
Yeah, poor grandma. But that's, I mean, we're having a realistic episode today. Grief is a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, if grandma dies peacefully, that's not a problem. But
yeah, no.
If she gets murdered, it's going to be an issue.
Not at all. Now, intention. Can you kind of grasp what intention means in this regard?
From my perspective, intention is all about your thought process. I don't think it has anything else to do other than with your thought process, and it's mostly about telling yourself, okay, this is how I'm going to approach the day. But I honestly don't think intention is where most people have a problem, because when somebody is like trying, let's say somebody goes on a trip to Big Bear with their closest friends.
Yeah.
They already have the intention that it's going to be a good time based on other experiences that they've had, right?
I got you.
So I don't think that's necessarily something or somewhere where they will necessarily trip. It's more so that they're naturally excited about the process. So intention's very simple for me. It's the thought process. It's like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Nothing too complicated.
The whole point of intention, essentially, is, well, in regards of making memories, is preparation. So you know something's coming up.
Yeah.
And how do we best prepare for that? The best way to prepare for it is to just have great intentions, you know? I am not going to be selfish today and just focus on snowboarding. I am going to, make sure everyone's having a good time.
Correct, yeah.
And if I can do that, then I can do snowboarding peacefully. For example, you're setting yourself up for the better side rather than the bad side, because things can always just retract and just go south.
Yeah, because
we want to avoid.
We've all had experiences with somebody that only has their intention focused on themselves.
Yeah.
And then as a result, throughout the experience, they do certain things that come off as very selfish, and then, that impacts the whole experience.
Intention. So before going about to do something memorable, do it with clean, good intentions, like a very optimistic view.
Yeah. That ties into our second one, yeah.
Yeah. And that will eventually help you with spontaneity, which we're going to talk about later. Okay. Which brings me to my second point, which is after intention, you would always want to be as positive as possible, which is just formulating the optimism. When you start to do this with making memories, you just generally become a more optimistic person forever, which is the cool part about practicing this, is that you start seeing that the world is made up of 90% just terrible things. And the 10% is where we would like to focus on, because that's where all the good stuff is, right? That to me is being optimistic.
Yeah, you're looking
I
at
am
the brighter
actively
side.
avoiding, the darker side, and I'm looking to the brighter side. And now I'm not disregarding that bad things happen.
Hmm.
They're all around us, right? Maybe you ran out of toothpaste this morning and you were really looking forward to brushing your teeth. So now you had to talk to someone with stanky ass breath
Correct.
and buy your toothpaste at whatever God knows how early time
Hmm.
we got up today. And yeah. So why do that to yourself? It's mental torture at the end of the day. When you're not optimistic,
Oh, it's
you're easily the victim all day.
well. What is the opposite of optimism? Nihilism, right?
Yeah, nihilism.
Or no, pessimism.
Uh,
Pessimism's the opposite of.
I guess you could use nihilism, but yes, more on terms of definition, pessimism for sure.
Yeah, and
Don't be
I can almost
pessimistic.
guarantee you that if you have a pessimistic mindset, you're not going to create unforgettable memories. It's
Mhm.
just not going to happen. Zero chance.
Yeah, but that doesn't go to show that pessimistic people don't make memories. What we're
Mhm.
trying to do here again is make you realize that, why do we hold on to certain memories and not others? And how can we better help to shape your life, having things to visit the vault in,
Mhm.
the treasures, the
Have more
memories
things
you
to
hoard.
pick and choose.
Yeah, right? If you're at a high stress level moment, what would you like to do? You would like to escape it, right? The best form of escape is to go back and revisit something. That's
Mhm.
the best form of escape, in my opinion. Now, expectations. What do you want to expect from this? You, just like every other human being, wants to expect some sort of positive happiness and joy from this.
Some reward. Yeah.
Some reward. If I were to go back and think about this sentimental day, why did it mean so much? I will always remember it for some reason. That's what we're trying to clear up here.
Hmm.
Is that why do I remember this for some reason? I remember Hollywood, the Walk of Fame when I was 10 with my parents. Why? There was nothing significant really about what happened, but for some reason, I remember that specific day. And then
Mhm.
after that, I went to the Hollywood Walk of Fame hundreds of times.
Yeah.
I don't remember the hundreds of times. I remember that one time, though.
Hmm. Now, with expectation, we get into some interesting territory
Mhm.
because something that I've heard you mention quite a few times is that you would rather go into an experience without any expectation
Correct.
instead of what most people do. Either they have a high expectation
Mhm.
and they become disappointed because it doesn't meet that standard, or they have a low expectation and they're also disappointed because they went into it negatively and they usually bring about the same thing that they think about.
Yeah. Well, it's correct. That's kind of how I approach things. I would first of all, I do set an expectation. It's not like I don't, right? But the expectation sits somewhere in the middle ground. It's not
Mhm.
high up there. It's not like, I expect to get the biggest donut today from Universal Studios,
Yeah.
right? So if that's my highest expectation, and it is a fact that I am going to Universal Studios today, how can I bring that expectation down? What is something that is absolutely most guaranteed going to happen? And I will
Mhm.
set that as an expectation.
Like, for example,
For
I will
example.
enjoy the rides.
Yeah. I will enjoy the rides today.
It's a guarantee.
I didn't set the bar too high, but I didn't set it too low either,
Mhm.
because there is something to look forward to.
Okay.
It's that measurement for you to have enough motivation to look forward to the day, but also you're not ruining it with such a high expectation that you would come down from that.
I like that. I think everybody can take value from that.
Mm-hmm. And it's a great way to think about everything, honestly. And I get this question a lot, but it's just like me as a person is, why are you so chill? Why are you so cool? Why are you so cool?
Yeah.
And
Not cool
like,
in the sense of like popular, cool in the sense of
cool in
like
the sense of like,
grounded.
yeah, like how are you able to do these things with like pretty much the same attitude all the time? I'm not always in the same mood, but that's just It's my inner actor playing the part that needs to be played today, because today is not over. Today is gonna happen. That's not up to me. It's the will of the universe. All right, the time doesn't stop. So you go through whatever you need to do, pick yourself up, and dip. That's it.
Can't argue with that.
Get out the door.
Can't argue with
Yeah.
that, man.
Just like fighting with a significant other. You hear this a lot from the man's side. If you don't want, if you're severely angry and you're about to punch someone,
Just leave.
okay, just leave.
Yeah.
Walk out the door.
hmm
When you walk out the door, it's like something happens after that 7-minute walk where,
You're not putting yourself in a position
yeah,
to do something stupid.
exactly. But as a man, you put yourself forcibly into a moment of logic. That's what you're doing by walking.
hmm
Okay, you're not using, because if you were to use your anger, you're getting emotional.
Yeah.
Are you not?
And when emotion rules, logic is not.
Yeah, logic is out,
nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it's out the door before you. So it's beat it.
I think that's a very good explanation of the whole expectation part.
Yeah.
Very practical.
Thank you. I think it is very practical, and I think it's something that everyone needs to be doing. Stop setting expectations too high and too low.
And like you said, you can practice it anywhere.
Exactly.
So
you could practice it with a meal, for God's sakes. Like tomorrow's dinner. I don't know. Like, don't be like, yes, I haven't had steak in 3 months. It's gonna be so delicious.
And you burn
No.
the fucking steak.
It's just like, hey, I get to have a steak tomorrow. That's where I sit.
Yeah.
I'm not like imagining this steak to be juicy. Just, it's a steak. It's a good steak. That's it. That's what
I would like
have
to
tomorrow.
mention, it's not like we're trying to destroy your excitement for the experience.
Yeah.
That's a completely different thing.
Because I'll gladly explain why. Because excitement is something that is built in the moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Excitement, it especially when it's directly translated within that like quick 2 minutes into joy, that is one of the best feelings.
Oh, for sure.
And nothing's bringing that down. You know why? Because you just set that expectation in the moment.
Mm-hmm. And what does that feeling lead to? Our next
Joy
one,
and happiness.
sentimental value.
Yes. Sentimental value. Sentimental value is something that I've been working on since I was a kid, man. I don't know if you believe that.
Do you think we all have sentimental value for something? I think we do.
Yes. Different levels.
Yeah.
Different levels. I like how I said yes there.
Yes.
Yes. I would like to believe so, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sentimental value. I would like to believe that all of us have a certain percentage in us for recognizing sentiment and making or giving things value.
Mm-hmm.
I know in my experience, I'm good at receiving things that are sentimentally valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So, necklace, for example, bracelet.
You like to receive.
I like to
like to
receive.
receive those
Well,
things,
in
yeah.
my experience, I've also just received more than I've given things value.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
and that's also because, in my eyes, sentimental value has to have some sort of history.
Yeah.
Right. And the longer, the more sentimental it is. So think of your grandfather's watch from the 50s that he handed down to you, right? And it's currently to 2021.
Which people would consider to be priceless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's priceless, and it's something that you can almost smell. That's an era that you
It
did
has a
not live
certain
in.
essence to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see how that's more of a semantic way of memory?
Mm-hmm.
Because it triggers like, okay, like I would like to smell this. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the 50s, but I can somehow almost be connected to it
Mm-hmm.
through that sentiment.
Now, with sentimental value, I think this ties in more to the intention part of our discussion, because by definition, to have to have something that you value in a sentimental sense,
Mhm.
the experience has to be over. Like, you have to gain a specific object or something from the experience, right?
It's a good question.
Because when I think about that, I immediately go to objects,
Mhm.
specifically only objects. Like the clothes I was wearing during the
For the
experience.
most part, yeah. So when you think of sentimental value, that's a very good point, because when you think of it and you imagine it as a wardrobe, it could be many random items.
Mm-hmm.
They're still items.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think a human being can hold sentimental value, like as just a being.
No,
Because
I don't
then-
think so. Yeah.
Because we hear this all the time. When you go to your grave, you don't take anything with you except your body.
Well, even your
it's
body you don't take.
Yeah, you
Some
don't
people
really,
disagree on
you
that.
you don't own it, man.
My point is like sentimental value
Yeah.
is it implies that the experience is over. So you can't have it before you have an experience.
No.
So that's why I say it
Yeah,
ties into intention.
It ties into intention.
You have to go into it with the understanding that, okay, once this experience is over, I want something practical, tangible,
Mm-hmm.
that I can hold in my hand that has sentimental value.
That's why you see
Okay.
dog tags all the time, like
Yeah.
army dog tags. It's just
It's a good example.
It's literally, it holds a memory of where you were at a certain time in your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different kind of sentimental value too. That's something that was personal.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
remember, there's personal and impersonal, which impersonal is semantic. That's where it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, why is it so easy for us to remember July 10th, 1998 at Disneyland? But it's so hard for us to remember the Boston Tea Party. Right? Like literally, I don't even remember right now. If you were to tell me the date, I don't remember the exact date.
Maybe tell you 1800s, but other than that, I don't
we're
know.
literally one search, one glance away from knowing the date.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just, why?
Mm.
It was impersonal, first of all. I did not live it. I read about it, and I had to imagine these things happened.
Mm-hmm.
So the brain process of what's happening is completely different than what's happening when something is completely personal. You have, let's just say, you went to a bookstore, and immediately you can smell the old pages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that smell now you've linked it in your brain to bookstore that I had been waiting to visit in Los Angeles, for example.
Mm-hmm.
It became very personal. Why? Because you have one of your personal senses that has been linked to that memory. And then you took that memory and stored it.
Yeah.
When it comes to learning information, it's a different kind of way. There's a different reason why teachers, professors, and coaches tell you, when learning, you read, and then you reread it, and you relearn it. So by relearning it, you're applying it to a piece of paper,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're registering it. And that is because it's the pattern of your brain.
Got you. And as important context for the listeners, everything that we mentioned before this, including the next one, focus,
Mm-hmm.
that it goes under what we consider chapter 1, which is framing your internal world
Mm-hmm.
prior to having the experience.
Exactly.
So it's mental preparation for, so that it sets you up for the possibility to have an unforgettable
Yeah.
memory.
So the way this episode is structured is beginning, middle, and end.
Yep.
That's it. Preparation, everything you need to know, and sealing the deal.
And then would you like to cover our last one under that first part, focus?
Yes, focus. Focus is the most important one, I think.
I agree.
Okay? Because without focus, you're not going to be able to dig into your emotions. You're not going to be able to dig out any sort of importance from this. So focus. How do we tackle focus? Focus is something that we all have been lacking, and it's only getting worse.
Definitely
10
only
years.
getting worse.
It's getting worse every 10 years. You can see this with everything.
Every day, bro.
Every day, man.
Yeah.
Crypto, short-term money in my eyes,
Mm-hmm.
can be long-term, but for the most part, the way it's played today, short-term.
Modernity does not set you up to focus well. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You're being bombarded from every angle.
Mm-hmm. Minimum requirement of 35 pages to read per day, turning into 6 to 7 pages.
Mm-hmm.
35 was low to begin with. Okay. Just had to put that out there. So you can see our focus is shifting into really shallow
We're just distracted all the time.
Yeah, we're distracted all the time, and we can't wait to change and move on to the next thing. Okay, 5-minute increment schedule system. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why we need to do 45 things a day.
Yeah.
But apparently playing the busy card is the most important thing. Because when you play the busy card, it means you're not busy at all. That's just my opinion. But
yeah, it's more so about just appreciating the details of
focus. Focus is going to be the most important one, and for many reasons. First one being, focus is what's going to drive all of your juices in your body. Okay. When you use your eyes and your brain to choose to focus on something, a lot of the times you're going to find yourself in an environment where you are outdoors. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of distractions, from birds to nature to wind, weather,
other people,
sounds, you name it. Okay. So how do we focus? I'm going to bring this up in the most easiest form to something that we've probably all experienced, which is a nice sunset view. When you're at a sunset view, you've already taken the time to be there on time, because the sun does not wait. Time goes on. So you've prepared for that, correct? Your intention was to see the sunset with a dear friend. Okay, I'm just building the picture here for you. And you're looking forward to it, which means you are optimistic about it. Your only expectation for today is to eat ice cream or gelato right after sunset.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your expectation. Your expectation is not to have a good time with your homie or your friend or girlfriend, whatever. So yeah. Now,
so already your focus is destroyed.
You've set a centered expectation. You're on a good roll, right? I relate to this, but sentimental value, my camera, right? Been passed down from my dad. So I take that with me. I'm like, all right, now I've made the effort to bring something that means something to me to this sunset.
Yeah.
Cool. Now the last stage we hit, we're finally there. It is approaching sunset in about 7 minutes, and it's slowly getting darker and darker by the second. And come on, I need to focus. I need to take this in. How do I take this in and make sure that today gets sealed as a stamp of a good day forever? How am I going to do that? You're going to laugh, but it starts with breathing and observing.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
It's literally all you need.
Take yourself away from whoever you are with, since we already mentioned that. Take yourself away from whoever you are with, okay? They are not with you at this moment. They're experiencing it for themselves. It's time for you to experience it for yourself as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to observe. Pay attention to how your eyes are moving, okay? Just like when you're going to the gym and you're hitting biceps, your mind is focused on your body part, okay, for maximum growth. 1 rep, 2 reps. When you're looking around, your eyes are just as much as a muscle. Think of every twitch it does. Make sure it doesn't blink. Gain control, like tell yourself to blink and then blink. Gain control. What you're doing is you're initializing your sequence of, hey, I am in my body. I am in control of this moment. Let me just take 5 minutes to myself and observe. And when I mean observe, I literally mean nothing in this moment matters except observing. Take in the sound, take in the smell, take in the light, take in the different contrasts from the rocks around you, whatever it may be.
I have, because you brought this word up a few times, think.
Yes.
I have a different perspective on observation, or we most likely agree, but there is no thinking going on when you are observing. Like, you want to take that element out of observation in order to get the most out of it.
Here's okay. You're thinking of thinking as a regard of thoughts. I'm not thinking of thoughts. When you're thinking, all I'm doing when I mean thinking is using your brain making sure your brain is ready to be used.
Yeah, but it's always ready to be used.
It's always ready to be used in a sense. But what I mean by ready to use is that it's a clean slate right now, and I am inserting things into it. I am telling it what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than having the thoughts accumulate on their own and start, asking my emotions and generating more thoughts, and then that's just more distraction. The whole point of this is to find stillness.
And I think everybody has this ability because when you look at a beautiful sunset, for example,
Mm-hmm.
your mind naturally goes blank.
It
You're
does.
just it's so spectacular that you can't help but stop thinking and just admire it.
Yeah. And I hate to say this, but some people, they really don't notice that.
They have
As
it within
beautiful as
them,
it
but
is.
they don't
They
like,
don't know how to, it's
Mhm.
so in the back of their mind.
they're not aware
They're
enough
not really
of it.
aware. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that narrating in the moment actually works to
Mm,
people like that,
okay. Interesting.
Like if they're laughing and they're having a good time and I'm just in my moment of stillness, they're going to look at me for like confirmation of the joke because we're there together.
Mhm.
And for the most part, it's played out pretty positively. But if I just don't engage in that joke, they'll kind of just
They'll think something's wrong with you.
they'll
or
feel
like,
my room and
Yeah.
rather join me.
Mhm.
Right. It doesn't always work, but focus. Focus is something that you can absolutely control,
Mhm.
and it can change the link between your heart and mind.
Big time.
Big time. It's something absolutely beautiful, and I think that everyone needs to work on focus.
Yeah.
A lot of things you could do for focus, for example, would be there's Duolingo. Duolingo. I know this sounds very like out of the ordinary,
Mhm.
but Duolingo. Look, just do
So
what I
fucking
do.
random, but
Yeah, I know. Do what I do. Okay, think of like a foreign actor that you like
Mhm.
and their character and all that, and realize that you like the language because of them.
Yeah.
Okay, choose that language. Go on Duolingo and just take a 10-minute course. Just take a 10-minute course and tell me your brain isn't vibrating from how much you have focused.
They do set up the app in
Yeah.
a nice way to the
Mhm.
point where it gets you like
Yeah.
zoned in.
So when I say pay attention to those vibrations, I mean it. Every one of you, go to Duolingo today and just try it for 10 minutes. I'm not saying take a full course. Just try it for 10 minutes and really sit there and try to do it and be like, hey, I am a caveman and I just want to understand and be able to tell them that I would like a Dr. Pepper with my dinner tonight. That's it.
And your mind will be
That's
buzzing.
your course for today. And your mind will be buzzing. It'll be just vibrating with what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
But that's only if you truly focus. So when you focus, I want you to recognize what's happening with how you feel, because that's essentially the feeling you're going to bring out the next time you go out.
Mhm. Valuable stuff.
Dude, our brain is crazy. Life is crazy because the things we do for memories is the same shit we do for studying for that final.
There's a lot of interconnection.
Yeah. It's a lot of expectations, optimism. It's a lot of observing and taking information and relearning and regenerating thoughts, and it's all over. It's all over, man. But
Now we get into some juicy territory.
yeah, so now we're gonna cover the middle section, which number 2. What do we
So
label that?
this is the section where we consider it the exploration of the external world. So this is while you are in the experience itself.
Mm-hmm. One of the first things we like to immediately notice naturally is other company.
Yes, people around us.
People around us, people who came with you. Here's a practice for me that I like to do sometimes. Before I get to myself, I like to see what the others are doing.
Mhm.
What are they doing? Are they here for the same reason that I am? Or are they here just because they're locals and, they're out to get a taco? I don't know. But company, there's a huge reason why it matters, and that's because energy.
Yeah.
Energy. So if you're bringing out good energy and I can sense that, I'm only going to push back greater energy,
Mhm.
and it's just going to retract.
Mhm. And we've
Back
all
and
been
forth.
around. We've all had experiences where there's either one or two actors
Mhm.
within the group who, for some reason, they're off. They're either negative, they
Yeah.
bitch about something,
Yep.
and then you notice how it impacts everyone else around them. And a good example I will bring up
Hmm.
is my own experience being on competitive teams for soccer.
Mhm.
If one or two of the players on the field start to bitch, that gets me pissed off.
Yeah. Because it's affecting you. We're all in this together.
Mhm.
Okay? This whole team is Zayd right now. I get that. And that's why everyone needs to be a team player.
Yeah. They can make or break
Yeah. They can make a break.
the
So
experience, though.
choosing the right kind of company, that goes a long way.
Goes a huge way.
Yeah. In our younger years, it's very hard to understand that because we love everyone. We're here for a good time, not a long time. Ah, ha, ha, ha. You know,
Mhm.
like, cool.
Naive mentality.
I get that. And I was there. Okay. I've lost a lot of friends in my life,
Yeah.
which is, you know, unfortunate, but who knows? I think the more I live, the more it's become fortunate.
That's a metaphor for life. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So don't beat yourself up over it. Rather prepare and be optimistic with the universe. It's you versus the world. It's not you and your homies versus the world. It's always going to be you versus the world.
Here's another option. If you don't
What's
have
the other
anybody who you can go with, you can go alone. I think that's a great
Yeah. I was leading to that.
that is something that people
Mhm.
for some reason don't want to do. Like go to a movie theater and watch the movie alone.
Yeah. Why does it have to be a group?
Exactly.
Like, do you want to watch the movie or do you want to hang out?
Because that's the best way to teach yourself this whole process is to master it within first
Yeah.
when nobody else is around you, and then you can bring it
Yeah.
into a social setting.
That's why I tell people, I don't tell people like, hey man, be honest with me. No. I tell them, hey, be honest with yourself first, then me. What are you? Yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Okay? Because if you're not honest with yourself, you're useless.
Absolutely.
You may be able to do
Not only
certain
useless,
things,
you're
and
destructive.
you can generate me money and do all that stuff, but why? At the end of the day, I'm here for human exchanges,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? I'm not here to run my business over yours.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's my business. So stay out of it and I'll stay out of yours. Kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we have business.
And then
Interesting, right?
it is
Companies, it can totally like just break everything.
once you have your company down, then we get into the hobby/interest territory.
Yes, sir. So, hobbies and interests. This is something that you absolutely, going back to what you said,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be doing this alone.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't be doing this with no SO or, your neighbor who's your convenient best friend. Just stop. Okay? Hobbies are something that you need to take a genuine internal interest in.
Mm-hmm.
What are some hobbies that I've done? What are some hobbies that you've done? I've done archery. I've done swimming. I have done soccer in the past. I have done climbing, golf range.
The crazy thing about
Like-
hobbies/interests is that some of the most meaningful things in my life have started off as those things. Soccer was a hobby and
Mhm.
interest of mine. Writing was the same way a few years ago, but now like these things they've taken over my life to the point
they
where
become
I
grounded.
identify with them. Yeah.
Yeah, they become grounded with you.
Yeah, and it goes to this point. You have to build your experience on something you fundamentally enjoy.
Yeah. Why? Why do we need hobbies and interests? Because then what good is the world?
But yeah, it's play.
Okay? Don't you want to tease yourself? Why do we flirt with other people
Don't you want to
but not
tease
ourselves?
yourself?
Yeah. Why do we flirt with others but not ourselves? That makes no
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
Makes no sense. Because I promise you, man, the day you're gonna need someone, they're not there.
Yeah, a lot of times they won't show up.
They won't show up.
Or only
Just
a
because
handful.
I show up doesn't mean everyone's like me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just accept that and move on. Okay? This is why we need to master being alone. It's because no one gives a shit. They really don't give a shit. And if they do give a shit about you, they're gonna take that and define it into their own life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
Very simple.
now
You need
also
to-
when we mention like activities you fundamentally enjoy, this is where I think people have to have some open-mindedness
Mhm.
in regards to activities they've never tried before. Because I think people conflate the two to the point where it's like, I've never tried this before. I have this idea in my mind that I wouldn't enjoy it, therefore I'm not going to go and try it. I think that's a big problem.
Yeah, and I think that has something to do with expectations.
Yeah, I mean these all
Yeah.
tie in together.
Yeah, they all
so-
tie in together. It's just kind of like, all right, first of all, your intention was not clear from the beginning. So how are you going to be optimistic about it, or how are you going to set solid expectations, or find some sentimental value in things? So it's
Yeah.
just your wiring is already you're heading into life in the wrong format.
Mhm. And I would urge the audience to think about, what you particularly enjoy. What do you find yourself gravitating towards naturally?
Yeah.
Like what can you spend hours on
Mhm.
alone and just lose yourself in, lose
Yeah.
time.
This is what I tell everybody a lot of the times. I've said this multiple times, but let yourself be bored. Don't complain about, oh God, what am I going to do? I'm so boring. Oh my God. No, sit there, act like a child, and just realize that you're bored and do nothing. Okay. When you're doing nothing, you're going to have these thoughts in your head. They're just going to say, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? What
Maybe
are
I
you
could
doing?
do this.
And every time you stop and ask yourself, what are you doing? You're doing something else.
Yeah.
Do you see how you're doing something? You're just telling yourself you're
Yeah.
bored.
Mhm.
So that internal recipe is going to cause you to be more connected to yourself. Whether you're
Fly in the throat.
excuse me, whether you like it or not, right?
Yeah.
You're going to end up doing something which is going to lead you to what you naturally do. And that's the beautiful part of it.
And the boredom gives you space to, like you said, you naturally gravitate towards whatever you find interesting.
Yeah. Which I wanted to add another one before we get into the next one. Because hobbies and interests, in order to do those perfectly, you have to build your environment. Okay. So when you're bored and let's just say you found an interest in rock collections. I'm not making fun of anyone because I like minerals, right?
No, everybody.
I'm not a huge rock collector, but
Everybody has an interest in something.
interest in something. That's such a humble down interest. You have just found out that you are interested in minerals and rocks and you want to start collecting them. What's the first thing you're going to do? What are you imagining? Are you imagining selling them on Etsy? Or are you imagining this colorful, vivid display of minerals in your office/bedroom,
Yeah.
with a custom pre-built stand and all that? Like, what are you picturing, right? Is it business-based? Is it fun-based? Is it
Mhm.
something I want to share with my kids? What is it? And then from there, you build your environment. You know what you want. Is this going to be more of a something for me to look at, or is this something for me to kind of polish and just cherish every single day? What does it mean to you? That's what you need to do with your interests.
So it's very pragmatic. Like you'd set up
Yeah.
a table like this one.
Mhm.
Okay, when I find this specific rock, I'm going to set that up here.
Mhm.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And then along with that, with hobbies and interests, and then you find your flow and you find what you're after, and you're going to take care of these minerals, and it's going to be displayed wonderfully, and you're going to show it off to all of your neighbors and guests that come into your house, whatever, right?
Mhm.
After that, you're going to be looking at your, what is it?
Are you getting into the next one?
No. Internal connection with, forgot what I was going to say. It was something that's not on here, but I thought it would be a nice added, which
We
I
can get
completely
into the
forgot
next
about.
one. Yeah.
But it's okay. We'll get into the next one.
Do your own research. And in parentheses next to this, I put logistics.
Okay.
Because the details of the experience are very important. For example, like you don't want to be flustered
Mhm.
in the moment in terms of like, okay, I want to eat here or I want to do this. And then you have some disagreement with a friend. No, I'd rather go here. You don't want any of that. So we suggest that you pre-plan and have a few activities or places set up so that you at least get momentum going.
Yeah, momentum. Momentum's a good word.
Because logistics, for some reason, between like friend groups is a huge fucking problem. You have different opinions, different worldviews.
Different flavor
Somebody would
profiles.
rather. Oh yeah,
Yeah, flavor profiles, that matters, dude. That's a real thing, by the way. Okay?
I want fried chicken. No, I want.
Yeah, this is how common is this? Yo, who's hungry? 18 motherfuckers.
Oh my
Raise
God.
their hands, right?
Everybody's always
Yeah.
hungry.
And then you'd be like, all right, follow me to Chick-fil-A. And then everyone's hand goes down and they're just like, nah, dude, I want Pizza Hut. The other guy wants like fucking jalapeno sauce. And then you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, it's very tough to plan that out, which
Yeah.
is why I'd rather have everyone like go their own way, plan it out
Exactly.
in groups.
Yeah. But I think groups of friends are generally not a good idea either.
Yeah.
Which is very clicky. But that has nothing to do with this episode.
You got to be organized,
Yeah.
okay? You got to be organized with the details. It's very simple.
Be organized and clear. And
Yeah.
that's why I say be honest with yourself first and then honest with me.
And then we'll come to an agreement.
Exactly. Because if you're ever fearing telling someone something, then are they really deserving of hearing it to begin with? You're with the wrong crowd, Buster.
Most likely.
100%. Anyway, this is my favorite one.
Ooh.
Ready? I know you ain't because it's spontaneous. Oh, yes. It is spontaneity, baby.
Mhm.
That is something that I love. I love spontaneism. Ask.
Yeah. I would say you are a very spontaneous character.
Yeah. You've seen it. Sometimes we'll be sitting here and I'm like, oh, let's go to Target. And he'd be like, all right, let's go.
Well, Target's a very that's a
know.
watered down
Yeah, but it's not
example.
always Target.
Sometimes it's Joshua Tree, sometimes it's Big Bear, sometimes
Just a
it's
random quick nature hike at 8 p.m.
I mean,
dude.
Isn't that how our Colorado trip started?
Yeah, it was like, yo, Colorado. And I was like,
We have a few days.
I'm down. Let's go. Yeah.
Fuck it. We just sent it.
It was cool. But spontaneity, man. What do you think of it? I already am familiar with it. So
I think it's a necessary ingredient to have unforgettable memories,
Mhm.
without a doubt.
mm-hmm.
But in my mind, it's more about throwing yourself into the unknown. Because by definition, the unknown, you have no idea what's going to happen. And that's where the excitement is.
Yeah.
Like if I were to give you a day pre-planned, you'd have to follow every single step, that would feel like work.
Mhm.
That would feel like you're following a fucking work schedule.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude. The last time I went on a field trip was like 2003. So
And it's obviously not fun. So you want to throw in some chaos. You want to shake things up a bit.
Mhm.
And that's where a lot of the a lot of the essence of the experience lies.
yeah, I like to say that when you're spontaneous, that's where the movie starts playing.
That's a good way to say it. It's definitely
Yeah, and you know me by now. I look forward to movies. I love movies. It has shaped my imagination. It has shaped everything.
Mhm.
And it's a delight, you know. And if I choose to live my life like that, no one's gonna stop me because I am living, my boy. I am living, and I'm trying to teach other people how to live.
And are you really living if you don't have spontaneity in your life?
No, you're not. You have to take control, be a leader to some people as well.
Mhm.
Okay, I take pride in this. Like my significant other, if you are listening today,
My habibti.
being spontaneous is something that I like to play as a game. I'm not going to always be spontaneous, right? But it's something that I like to bring up, kind of like eggnog,
Eggnog.
you know?
Hmm.
Every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, I bet you forgot about this. And then like, just like suddenly be spontaneous, you know? Like,
Yeah.
and then I'll go for, I don't know, a tangent of 4 months of straight organized.
Mhm.
Then I'll have like my month of spontaneous crap and reckless spending and whatever. But that just helps me be more balanced in general.
Yeah, it's an ebb and flow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I get the goods on all parts of the world. It's
And then-
amazing.
This is also another one that we need to mention. Spontaneity ties into novelty, which is essentially just it's the end result of throwing yourself into the unknown.
Mhm.
You get to discover new things, explore new dishes,
Yeah.
find new places, meet new people.
Yeah.
And also, a very good point is that novelty is one of the crucial flow triggers, which check out our flow state episode. That's a very good one.
It's a very good one. Check it out. Tell all your friends and family, man.
If you've ever been in a flow state, that's one of the most addictive feelings on the planet. And that's, I think, what we're trying to get to with this episode.
If there was a drug that I can buy today, flow state. But why buy it when you can just master it, right? Stupid.
True.
It's free forever. But yeah, spontaneity. It does go. It goes hand in hand, but it also does go after novelty, I think.
How so?
Because spontaneity is like, if we're dealing with flow, or let's just use the concept of choosing a place to eat, right? Sacrificing is a part of just getting the momentum going in that specific example, right? So by being spontaneous, I am now sacrificing my opinion of where to eat. So now I am on the outskirts of whatever the major deciding decision is. Do you see how sacrifice plays a part in that? I spontaneously chose to keep this going with the momentum, so I have sacrificed.
Yeah. And then that leads into
flavor
novelty.
Profile.
That leads into novelty, where it's like, okay, let's all choose a new place and try it out.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So there's lots of levels to it. We're going to try to make it like not as, I want to say as short as possible, but not too long either, so that you guys can take most of everything out of this. And this is your forte. Yeah, this is my forte. This is the thing I've been mastering, my guy. But if you are not documenting your life or your moments or special events, you're missing out on a lot of memories, man. Because that is the easiest way to make a damn memory last forever, is documentation. Camera, which is basically cell phone these days. We all have them. Use it more. Get organized with it too. I like to organize everything by, I would give the day a title. So today was
Big Bear Day.
Yeah, Big Bear 2021 or whatever. If it's somewhere you go more often, like Laguna Beach, it's just going to be like Laguna Beach gelato, or like something that made it
where
more
it's
memorable.
obvious. Yeah,
it's not just beach, like what's But documentation, we need to be taking more pictures, good pictures. And by good pictures, I mean it needs to have the full wrap of, like, if I were to look at this from 1963, would I have trouble finding out what's going on in that image? You don't ever want to be solving problems in an image. It should just be right in front of you. Shows a specific emotion. You know exactly what day, what moment. That's it. That's documentation.
Now, we inevitably have to get into this subject. People inevitably use technology to document the process nowadays.
Yeah.
But there's also it's a double-edged sword. There's a big problem with people being taken out of the experience and having their focus destroyed because they're too focused on their phones. You see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Like, you take way too many fucking pictures to the point where it destroys the experience.
Yeah, and this is why it absolutely belongs in the middle. It's because the first section is just that highly important.
Yeah.
Without that structure, there is no way you're going to be able to control your distractions. Because the whole point of this is for you to be able to get out of yourself and see yourself as a third person. As a third person here to enjoy this, and I will mark it as that, and it will be sealed in the memory of Saeed Ashur, whatever.
I bring it up because I think the most important thing to avoid it is just to be aware that you don't want to be attached to your phone or your camera.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. Here's another cool thing from the film days, when all the movies we were used to watching growing up was all shot on film. It was never digital. Okay. When you finish shooting, what happens is you bring the tin can for the film roll.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a wrap today, guys. Thank you all for showing up. Thank you for all the extras and all the blah, 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 blah. It's a wrap. We finally get to go home. We shot scene 72 of 72. Woohoo! Right? Great.
Yeah.
Grab the tin can, put the film roll in it. We got the final scenes, and then you label it. Why am I doing that to the film roll, but not to the film roll of my life, which is my brain, my sightseeing, my scent, my everything, my hearing, dude.
You want the whole package.
You want the whole package. You should start labeling days.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to do a daily consistent practice, which is sit in bed. If you're the person that likes to watch TV in bed, sure. I don't like that. I think that's a different environment.
It has its place, but
it has its place, right? But if you're sitting there, I would like to imagine you sitting there in bed, not doing anything else except going to sleep. And you're sitting there and you mark everything that happened today. What did you do today? Well, I took the kids to school. I came back. I got my Amazon sales in today. I recorded an episode for my podcast. I shot a video, edited, and recorded some voiceovers, and then sent them up for upload and scheduled. Now I will go to bed, right?
Yeah.
So, where was I going with this? Oh my God.
Just a good way to
Whenever I
mark
go
it,
to-
put the stamp of approval.
Yeah, the stamp of approval. Okay. So basically what you did was you just marked every single part of your day. So if you had to seal this day off with a label at the end of your tin can to put it in the garage, what would that word be? What's the label looking like?
Yeah.
All right. Sometimes for me, it just, today was a good day. That's it. Sometimes
That's all you really
it's
need.
not that deep,
Yeah.
Sometimes it was very surface level. It's just the same project I've been working on for days, right? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes at the beginning of a project, it's very interesting. And at the very end, it's very interesting, right? So then everything in the middle just kind of was the same blur.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why. It's to avoid the blur, and it's to kind of just help patch and make everything look clear and accessible. That's the whole point of it. It's like the tin can system.
The tin can system.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to get into the final part.
Yeah, that's the final part, which is recollection. The whole point of that is to really feel yourself. You want to connect with yourself and take in everything around you as a sense.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you start doing that, your expectations become medium, and the value for the sentimental things gets higher for you because you're internalizing everything.
Yeah.
Which helps your focus grow stronger, which helps you get better company around you, which helps you share better experiences. And dude, it's up from there.
And what you mentioned just previously is a great way
your
to do that.
documentation is going to be better.
Yep.
Everything just goes along hand in hand, better and better. Everything is systematically shown to be worked on.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in life is a verb. That's what I like to look at it as. Everything is a form of practice. So the longer you wait to start, the more memories you waste, actually.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. And I would say get started today. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out on Instagram at the 2 a.m. podcast. Please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notifications for the YouTube channel at the 2 a.m. podcast as well. We're also on Apple, Spotify, and all major streaming platforms. Go ahead, check us out. Feel free to DM us or just link up with us, man. Do whatever you want.
Yep.
Yeah, this has been episode number 118, and we will see you next time. Take it easy, guys. Peace.